All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2022 Alaska Press Club Awards.
I'm Courtney Horostovsky. I'm the Vice President of the Press Club's Contest Committee, and I'm an investigative producer at Alaska's News Source.
And I'm Tom Hewitt. I'm the opinion editor at the Anchorage Daily News. And tonight we're your hosts for the awards, and we're coming at you live from the glamorous Airport Heights neighborhood in Anchorage.
And out here in Chugiak. And thanks to everyone for tuning in on Zoom on this Saturday. I almost called it Friday, but that was yesterday. We hope that tonight is our last award ceremony that we host on Zoom. Probably not the last Zoom event that we hold because we can do them more often, but hopefully this is the last award ceremony that we do solely on Zoom. Tonight, we're going to take about a half hour to walk through some of our most competitive award categories this year, and we're going to announce the prestigious First Amendment and Public Service prizes.
We welcome you to sit back, relax, maybe grab a drink or some snacks. And of course, we welcome any guests to join you in your Zoom box, from cats to dogs to kids. Everyone is welcome.
Every year, we are impressed and inspired by all of the work that's done by journalists across the state. We have learned just by being involved in the press club, we've learned so much about our communities, our state, and the people in it from the stories you all have told. So thanks to everyone for being here and for entering our contest.
We hope to be able to see everyone from across the state in person next year, but we did want to have a little time for some interaction across the state here. You might remember we did a little something similar to this last year.
So kind of like we started last year, the world has changed a lot in the last year again, but kind of the same, one of the same questions, I guess, probably different reasons. So if you want to share with us why it's important for us to be doing good journalism right now, we can probably start out with Tom, and then if anyone else wants to chime in, I'm not sure what the setup is, Rosie, if they raise their hands or if they can unmute and just chime in.
All right. Well, one thing that I'm kind of grateful for as far as the state of journalism right now and why it's important to be doing good journalism is that, simply there are fewer journalists in Alaska today than there were at this point last year. And I think that's been true for every year for probably 2 decades or more now. And so, when there's less journalism, the capacity, I think it's more important to have that journalism be good. And one thing that's really kind of made me glad is what seems like an increasing amount of collaboration between newsrooms, both in terms of sharing stories on different platforms, but also doing some cooperative reporting, big and small outlets across the state. And that feels really good to kind of be able to share capacity in that way, and also to kind of share perspectives, bring stories to places where they might not otherwise be seen. And I think that that's really important, and I'm glad that there's more of it happening. I hope we continue to build on that in this coming year.
Yeah, definitely. If anyone else wants to chime in on why you think good journalism is important in Alaska today.
All
or
right,
if not, we got
I see Gretchen's got a hand up. Gretchen, if you want to unmute.
Yeah, I just 2 short things. One, it's really nice if you're in a small town and your kids go to school with everyone's kids, and you're writing a story that puts people in a light that they had never thought they'd be seen in. It's good that you can back up good journalism. It's when it's good, when it's factual, when it's well reported, it's defendable and it makes sense and people can handle it. And the other reason I think it's so important is right now we have so many stories that are so important that some important stories aren't being reported on, as Tom mentioned, for the lack of journalists. I mean, we depend a lot more now on independent journalism, more so than we used to. And so I think as we get going, the fact that these independent journalists are reporting, making sure that we all are sticking with those good journalism traits and strategies is really important.
I saw Dwayne had a hand up too. Dwayne, if you want to go.
Oh, okay, thanks. Well, especially this year, there's going to be an amazing amount of outside money that will be trying to get its points across through advertising and other means. And it's all the more important that we have independent journalism that is trying to get out the straight story on all these different issues and races.
Thanks, Dwayne. I see Amy, you've got a hand up to talk.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say like through thick and thin, decades notwithstanding, sunshine is still the best disinfectant. You know, it's as simple as that.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for your comments. It's really nice to be able to connect with everybody.
Yeah, and I'll just add my 2 cents is I think with the so many different, like Dwayne was saying, so many different voices and ways of getting information out there, having trusted, reliable, factual news reporting is just like a keystone of an informed citizenry and you know, giving people the tools they need to participate in civilization and democracy. So that's I guess where I lean with that. I know we want to keep this kind of short, but we know a lot of people here weren't able to gather with us yesterday because of distance. But if anybody wants to make some cross-state shout outs, we can take probably just a couple more minutes here and then we will dive into the awards. Anyone? If not, we can head on into the awards, Tom.
Sounds good. Well, thanks to everybody who did speak up, and it's good to hear everybody's different reasons why they are still holding on to a little hope in 2022.
Yeah. So we have a lot of award categories. We're only going to go through the top 9 and our 2 special recognitions tonight. The rest will be posted on our website and we'll drop the link in the chat, and it'll also be available on our social media pages. So first, let's go through our 9 most competitive, and by most competitive, those are the ones that had the most entries. So always a good, good to have more competition. So these we kind of consider the cream of the crop.
The first category that we'll be announcing tonight was also the category with the most submissions overall. Best Alaska Outdoors Reporting. It's open to all media. And in that category, the first place winner for Best Alaska Outdoors Reporting is Zachariah Hughes for his Anchorage Daily News story with the headline, Bear Shelves, Hoarding, and Price Gouging, How a Prolonged Ammunition Shortage is Changing Alaska's Gun Culture. Second place goes to Rebecca Palsha of Alaska's News Source for the road trip and story, Close Encounter at Katmai National Park. And third is Deciding to Live, a story by multimedia journalist Beth Verge of Alaska's News Source.
Our next one is another highly competitive category, Best Environmental Reporting. This was open to all media. The overall winner for this category is Megan Sullivan with Indian Country Today for her story, Drastic Changes, Sea Ice Levels Affecting Seal Hunting. In second place in environmental reporting is Yareth Rosen of Arctic Today with How the Loss of Bering Sea Ice is Triggering Cascading Effects for the Ecosystem and the People and Wildlife that Depend on It. Third place story in Best Environmental Reporting is Why Cruise Ship Wastewater Helps and Hurts Juneau's Sewage Treatment Utility. It was produced by Jeremy Shea of KTOO Public Media. Congratulations.
Up next, we have Best News Photo. It's open to all media. In first place, we have an image titled Bear Shot by James Poulson of the Daily Sitka Sentinel. And here's an excerpt from James's description. About 2 minutes after I arrived to snap a photo of police responding to the call, the bear jumped over/through a 5-foot fence between me and a police officer. I snapped a photo at the same time the officer shot. In second place for Best News Photo, Lauren Holmes of the Anchorage Daily News for COVID Testing Line. Congratulations to James and Lauren.
Our fourth award of the night, or our fourth category of the night, is Best Alaska History Reporting. This was also an all media category, always a good one. Oh no, I lost my, sorry. It just took everything full screen, which does not have my list of winners on it. So with that suspense, first place in Best Alaska History Reporting goes to KTOO Public Media's ANCSA from the Archives, Moments in Time, hosted by Rhonda McBride. In second place, we have Rescuers Recall Prisondom Fire Following 41st Anniversary, reported by Michael S. Lockett for the Juneau Empire. And third place goes to KMXT Radio Kodiak for Alaska's secret Cold War seafood export, shellfish toxin for the CIA by Dylan Simard. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Congratulations to those 3 reporters and outlets.
Our next category is Best Humor. It's open to all media and a very competitive category this year with 17 entries. The judge for Best Humor had this to say about our first place entry. A gentle, humorous account of a fall, a bag of dog poop, and concerned tourists. Just another day in Skagway. First place goes to Gretchen Wemhoff of the Skagway News for Peace and Laughter on the Boardwalk. In second place for Best Humor is Larry Pursley of the Wrangell Sentinel with Supply Chain Shortages Make Me Nutty. And third place goes to Unhinged Alaska, the inside story regarding moose, written by Nick Varney for the Peninsula Clarion. Congratulations to all the Best Humor winners.
And I'll note that I see at least Gretchen and Larry on this Zoom call, so congrats. Next one is Best Feature Photo. First place goes to Emily Messner of the Anchorage Daily News for this one titled Car Wash. If you want to pop it up, Rosie, I will describe it after you put it up. There we go. The judge said, awesome photo, makes you want to smush your face against the other side of the windshield. It captures the youthfulness of the moment and a great angle. Second place goes to Lauren Holmes for his photo Lunar Eclipse. And Lauren is also taking home third place with the photo Vaccine Dog. Congratulations, Emily and Lauren, for those awesome photos of life here in Anchorage.
Up next, we have Best Long Form Audio Podcast, which is always a very competitive category. First place goes to KBBI's Check the Pantry. The judge for this category said, I can't think of much harder tasks than trying to convey taste to an audience that obviously cannot taste or see, but this is expertly and occasionally humorously done. It also made me dump out my old bottles of vermouth. In second place for Best Audio Program or Podcast is Cody Liska's Crude Conversations. The judge said, this was such a close competition, and if I had my druthers, I'd give 2 first place awards. The entries were magnificent. The host does a terrific job of finding them and then exploring the depths of their soul, making for a compelling audio podcast. And in third place for Best Audio Program or Podcast is KMXT Kodiak's Alaska Fisheries Report. Congratulations to those winners.
All right, and now we move on to Best Series. First place in this category goes to KNOME for the series Seeking Protection, Wanting Justice, Disparities in Sexual Assault Crimes in Nome, a 5-part series. The judge says, a very well done series. The digital experience is interactive and unique, well executed, and the topic was eye-opening. Second place goes to Across Alaska, Economic Recovery in 2021, produced by the Alaska's News Source team, including Lauren Maxwell, Rachel McPherron, Sean McGuire, Rebecca Palsha, Nick Swan, and Beth Verge. And third place goes to Zachariah Hughes with The Last Wild Kings, A World Without Salmon for the Anchorage Daily News. Congrats all. I love seeing that variety of mediums in that category.
Our final competitive category that we'll be announcing tonight is one that we hope won't be a category forever, but that certainly consumed a great deal of our time and energy during the past year. Best Comprehensive Coverage of COVID-19. This category is open to media of all sizes. Our judge had this to say about the first place entry. Best example of reporters uncovering interesting stories that evolved during and due to the pandemic. The angles for these 5 stories were fascinating and, combined with very good reporting, worthy of the top prize. First place goes to the team at KYUK with their series titled How COVID-19 Changed Alaska's Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. In second place for comprehensive coverage of COVID-19, residents seek broader discussion over future hospital, reported by Katie Anastas of KFSK Petersburg. And in third place for comprehensive coverage of COVID-19, Building a Healthier Future in Arctic Alaska by Yareth Rosen for Arctic Today.
All right, so that was our short list. Thank you and congratulations to everyone who won an Alaska Press Club award this year and everyone who submitted an entry. We were just shy of 600 entries this year, which means there were 600 individual pieces of journalism that you all and journalists around us thought were the best of the year. And I know there were many more, but that is a lot of good journalism for us to be sharing and putting out to Alaskans. If you missed any of these categories and winners above earlier on, or if you're in one of the other categories, we are going to drop a link to the full list in the chat. We're also going to post links on our social media pages and on our website. So those will be available pretty soon.
All right, we'll move on to career acknowledgements and memorials. Alaska journalism is always in flux, as you all know, and none of us keep reporting forever. This year, we want to acknowledge the outstanding body of work of one longtime Alaska journalist who I was lucky enough to sit next to in the newsroom in the before times when we were all sitting in newsrooms. For 35 years, Beth Bragg covered sports in Alaska, and her enthusiasm for conveying the triumphs and defeats of our state's athletes was clear in every story she wrote. She had an incredible gift for finding the heart of the story and drawing out the essential humanity in events where others might have only seen a box score. As ADN editor David Hewlin wrote, Beth's work was the definition of sustained, high energy, high quality local and regional journalism. Small things, big things, middle of the night things, deep knowledge of the community, and an understanding of so many of the things that make Anchorage, Anchorage.
And we're going to take another moment to remember Alaska journalists who we've lost during the past year, particularly very recently, the loss of Jay Barrett. He was the KBBI news director and died just about a month ago at age 60. KBBI is in Homer, but his legacy spread far beyond that across Alaska's airwaves in Kodiak, Bethel, Kenai, and now recently in Homer. But he started on the radio in Dillingham, which was his hometown, where he started out on the radio by announcing the high school basketball games. I didn't know him personally, but when he died, I saw lots of posts from lots of journalists across the state who had been touched by him and his welcoming and openness and kind of welcoming journalists into the field, no matter what kind of journalist they were, is kind of the impression I got from him. I'm not sure if we've lost any other Alaska journalists. If you know of any, feel free to unmute and we can talk about them as well, but we definitely want to honor the journalists who have left us this year. All right.
Okay, we'll move on to our Public Service Award presentation. And the Public Service Award, along with the First Amendment Award, are those are the two awards that are selected, nominated by folks at large. They can be journalists or non-journalists who nominate, and they are selected by the Alaska Press Club's Board of Directors, and they are considered the highest honors that the Press Club bestows. Recipients of the Alaska Press Club Public Service Award marshal resources above and beyond what is expected. The mere existence of a publication or a program is not sufficient grounds for nomination.
This year, we received 3 really solid nominations. And in any other year, any of these projects could have won. But this year's Public Service Award winners provide a service that was very timely to this year, and its reach was just so broad. Public officials were citing this reporting. People, on the street were using this reporting to make their conversation, but also their day-to-day decisions on their own personal health, and and others were using it to make public health decisions as well. So this year's Public Service Award goes to the staff of the Anchorage Daily News, with special recognition for reporters Annie Berman, Zaz Hollander, and Morgan Krakow, and particularly graphic artist Kevin Powell. This nomination was made because of their detailed near daily reporting on COVID-19 statistics and trends in the state of Alaska. To read from the nomination, it says, this team has given the most comprehensive and consistent picture of the virus to Alaskans throughout the pandemic, in particular with charts and graphics that illustrate hotspots, case numbers, and hospitalizations. This kind of reporting can be grinding, confusing, and monotonous, but these reporters consistently offered sharp, accurate stories and graphics that made Alaskans smarter about their own risk assessment and the way the virus was taxing community resources. This team's work was a clear example of public service journalism. As an aside, when we were discussing this award as a board, someone who works at the ADN looked up, and at some point in the middle of November 2021, Kevin Powell, who has been at the ADN for a very long time, even back when I was an intern. But at that point in the pandemic, he had made already at least 4,000 COVID-19 graphics illustrating the pandemic. And those are all the grids, the charts, and everything that people were kind of poring over all the time. And if anybody from that team is online, want to pop up and say hi and say a few words about your coverage. Let's see who all we've got here. I can only see some names, but I don't see, oh wait, just scrolling through. Anyone? All right, well, we appreciate it. And obviously COVID reporting, again, we hope to not have this category next year. But, well, public service, yes. COVID, no. So we'll move on to the First Amendment Award. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The Alaska Press Club presents its annual Howard Rock Tom Snap First Amendment Award to spotlight an individual, group, or organization in Alaska that has promoted, defended, or preserved one or more of the rights guaranteed by the First Amendment. This award was named after Howard Rock, who was an artist and Inupiaq Eskimo from Point Hope in Northwest Alaska, and he was the founding editor and publisher of the Tundra Times. He ran the Tundra Times in Fairbanks from 1962 until he died in 1976 and started the paper with Fairbanks journalist Tom Snap, who trained Rock in journalism.
With this award, the Alaska Press Club honors the outstanding performance of an individual, group, project, and/or organization for contributions to the cause of First Amendment values, either in the previous year alone or over many years. And this year, the Alaska Press Club's First Amendment Award goes to Anchorage Fire Department Video Center Director John Crabb and his chain of command, including Assistant Chief Alex Boyd and Chief Doug Schrege. John Crabb actually received multiple nominations for the First Amendment Award this year because of actions he took at a volatile Anchorage Assembly meeting in October 2021 as a municipal mask mandate was under discussion. As tempers flared, an appointed Anchorage government official directed Mr. Crabb to cut the live feed of the assembly meeting while hundreds of people were watching online. He refused and referred the government official to his supervisors, Mr. Boyd and Mr. Schrege, who both upheld Mr. Crabb's refusal to follow the official's orders to cut the live feed. As one person who nominated him wrote, Mr. Crabb's steadfast refusal to cut the live feed of the public meeting in the face of the heated atmosphere and at the direction of a government official shows courage and persistence in upholding First Amendment rights and values for all citizens. The support of his superiors of his actions is equally brave in upholding the First Amendment right of the press and public to have open and transparent access to the government.
John Crabb was not able to join us for the awards tonight. He is out shrimping in Prince William Sound. Zoom doesn't do so great out there. But he did send us this message, and we hope he doesn't mind us sharing it with all of you. Says, thank you for this award. I am honored to receive it along with my command staff. Talks about his shrimping, maintaining, and then he says, maintaining an independent and uncensored free press is, in my mind, one of the most important functions of a democratic society. Truth and integrity in the dissemination of information is crucial. World events of the day clearly demonstrate the destructive power of those who would manipulate information for personal or political gain. I would like to thank again the Alaska Press Club for their continuing work to facilitate a free and factual press, and I am humbled by your recognition. Thank you, John Crabb.
We'd also like to give some acknowledgements and thanks to our members and sponsors. We had our annual board meeting this morning and elected a slate of new and returning board members. Elected today were returning board members Angela Denning, Tegan Hanlon, Michelle Terrio Boots, and Julia O'Malley. Also joining the board will be new board member Eric Stone from KRBD in Ketchikan.
We're going to be mailing out certificates, award certificates, and some of these cool stickers. Hold on. There we go. They look like the poster, but they're stickers. And if we run out of these, we also have some of these with our that we'll send out with awards to award winners. Rosie just posted a link in the chat to where there's a link on our website where you can send us your mailing address so we can get that out to you. Again, yeah, if you want your award, let us know how to get it to you and we will send it.
Before we go, we have some sponsors and organizations without whom this year's conference wouldn't have been possible. Thank you to our sponsors, Atwood Foundation and Knight Foundation, in partnership with the Rasmussen Foundation.
And we also want to thank the organizations that provided speakers and presenters, which include the New York Times for our keynote, Purva Mandavali, the Alaska Division of Elections, Alaska Public Media, APM Studios, the Scripps School of Journalism, NPR, the Dallas Morning News, KYUK, the Kuskokwim River Intertribal Fish Commission, the Bristol Bay Regional Seafood Development Association, Vox, the Anchorage Daily News, and the Oregonian.
And above all, thanks to you, our members, the journalists who do the hard work day in and day out, keeping Alaska informed, and who do far more work than the public ever gets to see in the finished product.
And while this is the end of our official activities for what we've come to call during COVID times J Month instead of J Week, because of our nonprofit status, we are able to offer a lot of opportunities outside of the month of April to better your journalism skills, mingle with other journalists, and just keep learning and I was going to say producing, writing, reporting, but there's all sorts of ways to do it. But I guess reporting and newsing, journalisming, that new nonprofit, relatively new nonprofit status allows us to raise more funds to be able to support activities outside of our usual, weekend-long conference. So check out our website and follow us on social media where we post notices of sort of grants available and other, we do lunch and learns, those kinds of opportunities. We are doing more to be active all year long.
Thanks so much to all of you for tuning in. We hope to see you all in person next year. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Have a good night, and we'll hope to see you all soon.
Bye. Zoom fingers.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Oh, John's got that looks like a patch or a sticker, one of the two. Oh, write hard, die free. I like that one.